All right, guys, it's time to talk about the end of an era because today we are diving into Sepultura's final release before retirement, the EP, The Cloud Unknowing.
This is a band that has a legacy that stretches across decades, from the underground chaos of the 80s to their explosive rise in the 90s, when they helped pioneer a heavier, harsher, and more aggressive sound that didn't just shape metal at the time, but basically helped rewrite the blueprint. You can trace their influences through the 90s and the 2000s, right into the modern era, through groove metal to extreme metal, and even the DNA of bands who didn't even realise that they had Sepultura as an influence.
So, with The Cloud Unknowing, we're not just reviewing another EP, we are looking at the final chapter of a band that's helped push metal forward when it needed it most.
Let's get into it. I'm going to have to confess straight off the bat, and I'm pretty sure Bell has to as well, that after Max left Sepultura, I really didn't pay all that close attention over the decades. So I had absolutely no idea what to expect with this EP. I think in a lot of ways I was still expecting the full-on Sepultura onslaught, and then last week when we did Metal on Trial and we sampled the first 60 seconds of the second track, and I'm like, oh, this band has somewhat changed.
My story is pretty much the same as yours. I stopped listening to Sepultura after the first album without Max, and really because I think I was more of a Max fan than a Sepultura fan. That sounds a little unfair because I love Sepultura, all four of them, but yeah, I went down the Max path. I was curious about this EP and their sound, and now I'm way more curious because I liked everything I was hearing on this album. But yeah, I didn't know what to expect. As you know, like, it launches straight in. The first track, called All Souls Rising, launches straight into fast-paced death thrash, blast beats, screaming, kind of what you'd expect at, full throttle Sepultura, no matter who the singer is, really.
And
but
then you get
that lasts about, 20
about
seconds in.
Yeah.
They stop all that, and then what do we get? We get an orchestra.
Yeah.
It was so unexpected. It was so unexpected. Like, orchestral music and metal, it's no new thing. I mean, Nightwish do it.
Yeah. There's a whole subgenre.
Jimmy Bigger do it. Yeah, there's a whole symphonic metal. Wasn't expecting it in a Sepultura track.
Yeah.
The funny thing was, though, like, it was nothing like what you get from Nightwish and even Jimmy Bigger, but you know who it reminded me of? It sounded like an orchestra section from a Septic Flesh track.
Okay.
Just kind of had that dark kind of, not so much quirky, but just, it really, like, I actually had to look up who the orchestral composer was. It was really cool. It didn't last long enough for my liking. I mean, it sort of went back in to the
little
song.
Shades throughout the rest of the song that kind of like tipped it back in. But once they established, then they went back, and there was a lot of different things happening in that first song, and it all just flowed together, composed really, really well. And that orchestral element, like you say, it's not like Nightwish, it's not like any other band, but it's not what you would expect from Sepultura, but they made it theirs. You got that whole underlying creepy menace of something set to explode, and then they incorporate it into what they do and just blend perfectly. So it's a shame that this is like the last thing that they're going to do before they retire, because if they went down this road, I'd be interested to hear a whole album Sepultura with an orchestra.
Maybe they've done it before and we just don't know because we haven't listened to Sepultura, before this EP came out.
Jump in the comments, guys, because this surprised both of us. For long-term fans that have stuck with the band, unlike us, unfortunately, is this like normal? Were you surprised by this, or is it just something completely different to go out on? One thing that put me into my comfort spot listening to this was that first solo in the song. It's It's very old school Sepultura, just big old fucking bend note, and then just shredding. But they also, every shred solo Sepultura did, they always had that element of melody that made it more than just ripping it up. They just knew how to control it and make it fit the song. And I miss hearing solos like that because they're frantic and out of control, but they're controlled in being out of control. That makes no sense unless it does. The second guitar
I understand.
solo, you understand? Cool.
Yeah.
I'm not completely insane.
No.
The second guitar solo was very different. It was more melodic and paced and fit the song perfectly, but it had hit the right notes at the right time to create that atmosphere that they do so well. Second song is Beyond the Dream. This is the one that we first heard, and this was enough to like draw us in to say, what is going on with this band now? I have never heard anything like this from Sepultura. Maybe they've done other things like this, but the slow, brooding vocals of this just drew me in, and it just commanded attention to listen to these lyrics. And initially it's like, when did they turn into typo negative? Because he's got that whole baritone down deep. Damn, it was a cool tone and cool lyrics. It just drew me in.
It's funny because him singing cleanly like that, he's got such a deep voice, but when he's screaming, it's quite a high pitched scream.
Yeah,
so
interesting
it's a really contrast. Which he actually uses both in it's a later track. I think it might be the last track, but I really enjoy his singing voice. I don't know if he's used it in other Sepultura albums. Let us know if he has. Sepultura fans out there, Derek Green fans in particular. Keen to know. But also, I'm going to go and find out. On the back of this EP, I'm really curious. I'm sold on Sepultura post Max now.
Yeah.
I'll be digging back for sure.
It's a case of working backwards now, rather than trying to continue on where we left off. Just this is it. Work backwards and see where things start to shift. It's an interesting little challenge for us.
The solo in this song was particularly good. Just gorgeous. It was soulful, tuneful, bendy, and it was perfect for the song. I thought that was the best solo on the EP.
I agree. Speaking of solos, though, there's a little intro solo at the start of this one. It just kind of it only goes for like 10 seconds, and it's just a cool little addition to set the mood.
Is this what hooked you in?
Yeah,
last week?
That and just the clean tone, and then the vocals. The vocals were like, there's a story here, and it's so completing this. Everything just goes together to create the atmosphere for this song.
Yeah, they're masters at this point, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely.
Track 3, Sacred Books. We get back to the style that we expect from Sepultura. In fact, I think this is the most Sepultura-like track on the EP. Chunky riffs, the gruff vocals. So, it's just kind of that classic sound that we all grew up with, I guess, when we all got into them back in the early 90s or late 80s.
Very much took me back to my happy place back in the 80s when I grew up listening to this music. What really did it was the guitar tone, that palm muted, just natural sounding distortion that just seems so uncommon in a lot of metal music these days. You just had that whole plug and play. Don't fuck around with it too much in production. Just let the tone from the player come through, and it sounded awesome. That was the shit that got me excited when I first heard metal, and I'm so glad to get to hear something like that on a new release, and leave the Sepultura to bring that back to me, because that was a happy one. One other thing in this song, you said it was like the most Sepultura thing. It fits this album with surprises.
With an exception.
An exception. There's piano. I don't think there's ever been piano on a Sepultura song. Once again, if there has been, please get in the comments and tell us.
Let us know. But
this
was it? It wasn't just piano. It was a piano solo, and it wasn't just a piano solo. It was a jazzy piano solo.
Yeah, it was quirky. It was
smack bang in the middle of a classic sounding Sepultura song.
And it works.
What? It worked beautifully.
It worked so well.
I
Do you
want
know
to
what?
know who played that solo.
I would be interested to know if it was the guitar player. The reason I say that, it reminds me of a piano solo in a song called Aladdin Sane from David Bowie back in the 70s. And it had the whole same quirky, over a rock song. The guitarist in the band actually played that. It's just like, never let a guitar player play a solo on the piano because you get this quirky weird shit. So I never thought I'd be talking about David Bowie in a Sepultura review, but it's those songs are just similar with that whole idea, bringing the crazy piano solo.
If it was the guitarist, he's a damn good keyboard player too, because that was not an easy solo to play.
No. It just seems like a whole bunch of random craziness, but it's so controlled and it fits what they're doing. It just adds that atmosphere.
I love that. It's just like, what? But very cool.
What's going on now? This EP's full of surprise. I gotta say, how metal is the title of that song? Sacred Books. This is that song title would be enough to buy a record back in the 80s. You're looking for the record shop, you're looking for the track. Sacred Books, that's some metal shit, right? I'm gonna buy this album. Never heard it. I just want to know what this is about.
Just conjures up this image of like an album or a single title with a book with a pentagram on it and candles and
like a dark little bookstore forgotten about. You're just finding out evil
cobwebs.
Shit. Cobwebs, a black cat, But then there's lyrics like seeking truth in this world of lies, seeking truth in these sacred books. That's fucking metal. That's old school.
And the last track, The Place, finishing up, starts with a bit of a slower pace. Not as mellow as Beyond the Dream, but cool track. Derek bringing back the clean tone again at the start. He went harsh a bit later. I felt the song had a really, really big 90s vibe. Didn't sound like Tool, but it kind of had that. I don't know. There was something about it. It just put me in the 90s for some reason. And it was cool. Like, it was good 90s, not
bad 90s.
Shit 90s.
Now, I think a lot of bands in the 90s did experiment with that whole slow build, where it would start off with one texture, and you think that's where it's going to stay. And then by the end, like, holy shit, it's just the same song, because we're a completely different energy, feel, tempo, aggression. And it just builds progressively up. And that's what this song did so masterfully, by just starting in one place.
Hollow or something like that.
It just builds. It just gets in them. It's the last track on the EP, possibly, unless they do something else, possibly the last thing they'll ever have on their recording discography. And you're thinking, okay, it's going to start, it's going to be a mellow song, but no, it builds and it gives you exactly what you want to finish Sepultura's recorded album career.
Pretty epic. Like, it's surprising it wasn't a longer track, actually, because it had the space for it. Like, it was a type of song that could have been, a 5-6 minute song. It's not really their thing, but they certainly had a lot of ideas to play with, but it was still cool. What a way to go out, actually. Cool.
Some people might be disappointed it wasn't a full-length album, and it's a bit of a surprise that they didn't do that, but, if they don't stretch it, don't force it, if you don't have it, if you're not feeling it, so just focus on 4 awesome songs, and just like, bang, this is what we're going out on. And definitely on a high point.
Different way to go out too, I think. I like it. And it's not like, you and I are short of new Sepultura to go and explore. Like, I'm not even sure how many albums they've put out since Against.
Take a look at the past of me, but the world is not for me, and the field drink
So those are our thoughts on Sepultura's final EP, The Cloud Unknowing.
Whether you enjoy the album or not, one thing is undeniable. This is the closing chapter of one of the most important heavy bands of all time. Sepultura didn't just make metal albums, they helped shape the sound of modern metal, influenced generations of bands, and proved that heavy music could keep evolving without losing its bite.
So from both of us here, thank you, Sepultura. Thank you for the riffs, the fury, their experimentation, the risk-taking, and the legacy that you're leaving behind. Metal wouldn't be what it is today without you.
If you enjoyed this review, hit the like button, subscribe for more metal content, and jump in the comments and tell us which era or album of Sepultura is your favorite. We'd love to hear your feedback. And what did you think of The Cloud of Unknowing as their final release?
Thanks for watching. We'll catch you all in the next one. Until then, stay heavy, stay loud, and we'll see you in the darkness.